How are y'all doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. First of all, I was gonna say welcome to the first Monday in May. I think that counts too. But most importantly, welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Another Monday evening with all my friends out there. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Let me start off with a big old FKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV fans, shows, especially you guys that come out here watching every Monday night. And those of you who watch on replay, I know some of y'all do that as well. I saw some of your comments. I was going to respond to some comments from last week. I'll do it a little bit. Just got behind. Been a busy week. Floods down here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It's been kind of crazy down here in Houston. But hope y'all are doing fantastic. Hope you're staying nice and dry and warm in whatever neck of the woods that y'all are in. We got a few different things to talk about. So we'll talk about all that. But certainly any questions y'all got, throw them my way because it's kind of an open night. Before we go any further, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, and maybe hitting that thumbs up as well. I need one of those little automatic buttons like the fancy folks do on YouTube. I'll try to figure that out. I'm going to make a few changes here and there in terms of streaming platforms and things like that. Not YouTube. I'm saying YouTube Live, but in terms of some of the things that handle my cameras and all that before we get into the Big Brother season. Make it a little fancier as we go along. So I'll be looking for y'all's comments. But welcome to all of y'all. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. I'll remind you at the end of the show too. All right, with all that being said, let's see who's out here because I already see a lot of names out there. I gotta say, while I'm trying to get set up and setting up my screens and all that, I see y'all popping on here, and it just gets me kind of feeling excited for the show, knowing that y'all are out here chatting away. All right, Kennedy Franklin. All right, just got back from camping this past week and moved my camper to a Season A lot. Well, camping sounds pretty good. Perfect time, other than all the rainstorms and tornadoes and all that in Houston. But other than that, we got that couple weeks before it's hot as all get out in the summertime, and well, it doesn't really get freezing cold, but cold enough sometimes you don't want to camp. So camping sounds pretty good, Kennedy. I hope you had a blast with that. Mark, how are you doing, sir? We'll talk about Survivor and stuff here in a second. Marilyn Sutherland as well. Hi, Marilyn. Jake, the horror movie geek. Jake, how are you doing? Laura Lewis and Nunez 1919. Ed Brewer, Colleen. Love seeing you guys all out here. Cindy, how are you, my friend? Cindy's out here. Amanda Lowe, Karen Hummer. Let's see, Michelle Moore. Ma, how are you doing? You said last week, you're almost through school, right? I mean, this semester. A little longer after this to do as well, right? All right, let's see. Patricia Miller, Chaz, JP. Let's see, and it's Sign Cat. I almost missed you, Sign Cat. I don't want to do it. So, welcome to all of y'all. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Ma says she's done with this year. I kind of figured you probably were because it's kind of graduation time of the year, right? We went up this past weekend to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, stayed with my mom. It's always nice when I get to go hang out with my mom a little bit, so we got to do that. Had all kinds of different things happening up in Fort Worth. I've got one nephew who graduated. Congrats, John, for that. I've got another nephew who celebrated his birthday. Happy birthday to you, Rob. I've got a brother who was running in a city council election for the city of Arlington. See my shirt I'm wearing just for Bowie. Bowie, who was on The Apprentice. Bowie, who was on the who was on the Apprentice, who came on my show a while back. I've got the shirt for it, and I've got as well. Oh, and there goes the hat. Did y'all see that? I don't think you see it. Yeah, actually, on the way out of town, I stole one of his campaign signs. He only had about 2,000 of them in the city, so I figured he'd be all right with the one I'm missing. I'm very proud of my nephews with the graduation, the birthday, but really being city council, it's just kind of cool. Now, y'all know me. I always try to stay positive. I love talking politics, but I don't do it out here on the show because I don't want to be divisive. And no matter what, in this day and age, some people will feel different ways, and that's not what we're about here. But I do think politics and having a voice in the process is important. So, yeah, I'm really proud of my brother, Bowie, for doing that. And there are other reasons I talk politics out here. Why do y'all care at all what I think in terms of political? I don't know why all these reality people and TV stars and everything always go out and endorse different candidates. Go out, study everything, make your own damn decision as far as who you want to vote for. But yeah, congratulations, Bowie. I'm incredibly happy that he got reelected for city council in Arlington, which is a pretty big city right there between Dallas and Fort Worth, where the Cowboys play their football games, the Rangers play their baseball games. A lot of stuff going on in the city. So yeah, we had fun up in Arlington visiting and all that. Now I'll say this: we've had so many thunderstorms and rainstorms here in Houston. I drove through all of it. I drove through it Friday, doing some different sales calls up. Some rough stuff. We go up to Fort Worth, which is about 4.5 hours drive from here. They had it up there as well. Staying with my mom, the power of thunderstorm hit, lightning hit right next to her house. We lost electricity for 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, it's just been one of those kind of weeks here in Houston. We had a lot of flooding. I don't want to discount any of that, but it looks like it's getting a little bit better. If I've got time, I got a couple of thunderstorm, tornado stories and stuff. I'll talk to y'all a little bit. But before I do any of that, we got to talk about some reality TV. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. I hope y'all are caught up. I'm going to try to avoid the spoilers on 1 or 2 shows. 1 or 2, I'm not going to be able to, so we'll talk about that. Before I go any further, let me just remind y'all: if my calendar's right, if I'm thinking correctly, and based on what Brian had told me last week, 1 more week to get your audition tapes in for the next season of Big Brother. It could be you. And boy, would we have fun if it was. Yeah, 1 more week. And as I mentioned last week, just because you think, it's the very end, they've already picked everyone. That's not the way it works. They may be sitting there going through thousands of videos thinking, we just need that one person that fits everyone together on this stuff. You never know. And worst comes to worst, if you're perfect, but just they've already lined up the people for this year, they send it straight ahead to the next year. And here's the other thing too, the little secret that a lot of people don't realize. These casting people apparently talk to each other. Even if they aren't necessarily casting for the same shows, I guess they must share some data files and all that, because you still have people who, like Ovi. Ovi was getting down to, I want to say, like a finalist to go on Survivor. He was pretty close. I mean, like last minute kind of, it's either you or this other person type deal for Ovi. He was that close to it. And then they ended up going a different direction. So Ovi didn't make it on Survivor, but he made it on my season of Big Brother. And I'm so glad he did. It was so nice having a friend in the house in Ovi. It wouldn't have been the same without him. I wish he'd been a little bit longer. But can you picture Ovi being on Survivor? I think he would have done pretty good. I wouldn't have known him the way I know him now. So I'm glad fate worked out the way it did. But you never know. You may try out for Big Brother. Next thing you know, you're getting a call from Deal or No Deal Island or some of the other shows, right? Speaking of, before we talk Survivor, for those of you watching Deal or No Deal Island, first of all, I'm not giving away any spoilers on that one, because I know not everyone has watched all the way through. But can I just say that the person who went home last week, I really hated seeing that person going home. I had developed a real fondness for that person. I was really cheering them on and really happy for them, and I'm looking forward to saying hello to them at some point at some future event where reality people hang out with each other. Yeah, it's just not going to be the same. But I have really loved Deal or No Deal Island. We had a big fancy graduation dinner over the weekend. It is amazing how many people are watching that show. We were all back and forth on the table talking about what had happened and all that. So that gives me a good feel that they're going to have that for another season or 2 coming up. Isn't it amazing they took something as random as just picking a random suitcase and they built strategy around it? Some smart people over there in California doing the reality TV. So anyway, yeah, again, no spoilers, but I really love Deal or No Deal Island. All right, before we talk Survivor, we may do it as part of the question, but I know there's some questions out there. Let's do that. First of all, the Jake the Horror Movie Geek. Hey, Jake saying, anyone have a craving for a bourbon burger after watching Survivor? Wasn't it a Bourbon Street mushroom Swiss burger? I think is what it was. Yeah, all right, let's just go ahead and talk about the Survivor stuff, because what an incredible episode. I won't talk about who went home, but let's just talk about the bigger fit of the whole thing, and that was Liz and her meltdown when she didn't get picked to go to the Applebee's little on-site restaurant and eat. All right, Mark's saying Why didn't Liz get called off Survivor last week? Uh, and does Charlie have a good game going? All right, so a few other Survivor questions. First of all, Liz, it's not that who went home isn't important. It's very important. And yet another, yeah, I don't want to go spoil, but I can't believe that things happened the way they did, and that people ended up not being prepared for the way the votes could go on tribal council. There's a bunch of immunity idols out there. Why aren't there more immunity idols being played? We'll see. I think there's going to be a scramble for them this coming up week, so we'll see how it works. But the big news really was Liz, the reward competition. A little bit of a spoiler in that the winner of the reward competition was Q. He felt like he needed to turn the heat up a little bit. He did it. Isn't it amazing how that works sometimes? When you absolutely need a victory, you get it. Q, say it, he really needed the immunity victory more than the other one, but he won this reward challenge. He got to pick, and you know it's going to happen every time. It's not like one person's going to go off on their own. Wouldn't that be kind of funny if just one time they have this amazing meal and it's only the winner and everyone else has to stay back and eat coconuts, right? But now we knew it wasn't going to happen. Sure enough, Q had to pick what? 3 other people. He picks Maria and Kinsey, and who else did he pick? Can't remember at this point in time. But he did not take Liz. Liz was not happy. She had a meltdown. I can't say that I blame her. I mean, it's just sometimes you really have to be careful about the way you blow up on people because, for example, now we know she's got a vendetta now against Q, but what if Q had gotten rid of her just because of that? You've got to be careful about burning bridges with anyone, no matter how mad you are at them. She just couldn't keep it contained anymore. I'll say this: I understand why she did it, but if you're allergic to coconuts and fish and fruits and other things that you need to survive on an island, maybe Survivor isn't the game for you. Maybe it should have been Deal or No Deal Island, or come on over to my side and do some Big Brother in the house instead. So it's tough. I can't imagine being so desperate, so hungry, and even the food that other people are eating, just the raw, basic coconuts and things like that, you can't touch. That would drive me bonkers. But she had a meltdown. She started yelling. I think it was absolutely sincere. Talked about it wasn't just the food, but it was also the fact that she was missing her daughter. They do Applebee's every, I think, Wednesday night. Go home and watch Survivor. I hope all of that story is true, and I'm pretty sure it is because I've seen some pictures of her and her daughter. Hopefully before the show and not afterwards. But either way, wouldn't you be reaching out to Liz and saying, you're getting Bourbon Street mushroom Swiss burgers for you and your daughter for forever, or at least for the next year or so. Man, what a fantastic marketing opportunity for Applebee's to do that. Between that and Walker Hayes doing the fancy Applebee's on a front date night and things like that, they got some pretty good press out of that. I'd be rewarding Liz, but she was so upset. I truly worried for her, worried for other people. Now, here's the thing that y'all may not realize, and now I'm just going on and on. Let me get y'all's questions too, but I saw someone talking about it that said that one of the deleted scenes or some that wasn't shown was that Maria and Kinsey both volunteered to actually not go get the food, but to go back and let Liz go instead. And they didn't show them making that offer, but apparently they both offered. And Q said, "No, she voted me off last week, so I don't want her to go. I'm not taking her with me. Y'all are going, not me. It's my decision, and you're not going to take on the hero edit, or I don't know how it went down, but they offered, and Q said, we aren't doing that," which is probably why you saw just that extra bit of meltdown from Liz, the absolute vitriol, that's the word, right, towards Q, because not only was it just his pick, but then he actually forced the others not to stop us and let her go in their place. So yeah, she was pretty upset. You know what it made me think of watching her meltdown? It made me think of Bailey from Big Brother 20 when she started yelling at Tyler. Do y'all remember that? She was yelling so much that she bit her lip or her tongue. It started bleeding. That was the season. That was season 20 before my season 21. I remember watching that, getting ready to go into Big Brother house, thinking, "Oh my God, what am I going to do if someone yells at me like that? If they just absolutely go ballistic on me, am I going to have the discipline to just sit there and smile?" I probably would have smiled and made the situation even worse. But I kept that in mind during my season. The closest we came was probably when Christy and Nick went after each other on Taco Tuesday, or maybe when Sis went after Mickey when she found out that she was going home. There was a lot of yelling there. I'm not sure they showed as much of that on the episode, but I remember Tommy Bracco was cutting my hair, had just barely started, had just like half my head done. Sis starts screaming. Tommy says, "Sorry, Cliff, but I've got to go take care of this." I thought I'm going to go on the show with half my head shaved and the other half not shaved. That would have been interesting, huh? People would have wondered what was going on. And it was going to be Sis. But yeah, quite the meltdown. But I get it because your emotions are so built up when you're in these games and all of that. If they told me that everyone's going to go get some fancy meal except for you, Cliff, I may have been a little peeved as well. But during my season of Big Brother, it didn't matter. They didn't give us Outback Steakhouse in the backyard. They didn't give us a private concert with Baby Rexa or Lizzo or Billie Eilish or anyone. I went in thinking, how cool is it going to be if I get to do a little private viewing of a movie or eat some fancy meal in the backyard? They didn't do any of that for us. Now not only would, from just a hunger standpoint, it would have been kind of cool to have some different food for a little while or to watch a movie or whatever. But I always was disappointed during my season. They didn't have something like that where they forced a winner to pick people that he or she wanted to take with them to eat at the restaurant, have the movie experience or whatever, because it really forces people to show loyalties that I never had the chance for. Now I wanted it just to try to force apart that big alliance by showing who had who as their pecking order, because they couldn't all be the top of that pegging order in that alliance, right? And it would have helped break it up, but whatever. I guess they didn't think anyone in our season deserved Outback Steakhouse or fancy movies or anything else. So we just lived on slop and hot dogs and mac and cheese the whole time we were in there. A lot of steaks. We didn't eat Outback, but they gave us a lot of steaks, I think, because Mickey was in the house and they knew he was a fan of the steaks, right? All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Does Charlie have a good game going? All right, that was the other part of the question. I think so. Ed Brewer saying Charlie's stock is rising, both in comps and socially. I can see him winning, but he'd have to cut Maria. I think that's right. And then Colleen's saying Team Charlie now or Team Kinsey, either one. I agree with every one of those. I like Charlie. I think he's playing a really good game. But with Hunter gone, I feel like there's a little more tension. Maybe Charlie's got a bigger target on his back now that Hunter's out the door, because I saw those as two of the big kind of alpha males in terms of the comps and all that. So I think he lost a little bit of his shield when that happened. But Charlie's just it's just who he is. I really like the people left in the. I'm trying to think if there's anyone who I'm not a huge fan of, and maybe not so much. They're all unique in their own way. I think Cassidy did a great job. But no, I think Charlie's playing a fantastic game. Could he make it to the end? Yeah, I think he could. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's going to... I mean, obviously there's all kinds of things that get in your way, but I feel like from an edit standpoint, they're showing him playing a pretty good game. They're showing him talking strategy. He's working with Maria. I don't know what the perception is of Maria when it gets, if she made it to a final 2 or final 3, I guess, for Survivor, and it came to a vote, are they going to give her credit or not? I don't have a good enough feel for how other people see her as playing the game and how active a role she's taking. It was kind of strange. Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember, where someone said that, you've got to be willing to get rid of your number 1 as a resume bump. If I get rid of my ride or die, then that looks so good on my resume. I'm not into that. I wasn't going to do that in Big Brother. But Survivor, the new generation Survivor, these newest seasons, it's all about what can I do for the resume. I've got to make a big move. Remember, Liz got upset. She got upset at Q, not because he denied her food, but because she felt like he had screwed up her plans to make a big move in getting out. I can't remember now who it was at. Uh, but yeah, she was upset that he had kind of subverted her big move and hurt her game. He's not there to win the game for you, Liz. You got to do that yourself. But yeah, that's just modern day Survivor, I guess. What a great season it's been. It's fantastic. Season 46. Now we know season 50 is going to be all returning players. There's so many out there that you could get. I could go through and give you 50. What if they do that? You have 2 seasons of Survivor every year, right? You've got your spring, you've got your fall. Just give us one season. Just give us season 50. Start it off in the spring, and instead of 18 people, you've got 30 or 40 people. So get it down to 18 by the time you get to the fall season, and then you've got the winners of the winners and then play it. I know they're not going to do that. It's too much logistical nightmares and for all kinds of reasons, I'm sure. But how could you take everyone who's played Survivor and get it down to 18 players? That'd be tough. Because everyone's going to miss out on someone that they really like to see in there. So just start it with 40 or 50 and just you're only out there for 29 days. So make it 58 days and start with 36 or so. I could live with that. Hey, Jeff, call me. I'll give you some more ideas here. All right, Ma is saying, Liz signed up for the show. I don't feel bad for her. I agree, Ma. It's not as though she got out there and said, wait a minute, they're not feeding the sandwiches. We don't have a big old bag of peanut butter and jelly. And, no, she knew exactly what was going on. I don't know. I feel like even the producers probably had these food reward comps and things like that. They've given her 2 or 3 opportunities, well, maybe not a couple of opportunities to step out of a competition. If enough people did it, they would get the big bags of rice. Maybe that's it. Maybe Jeff and everyone else was just so surprised that these people are playing the game so hard that not enough of them were willing to even step away from a competition to win extra food. And they thought that would be the way to get her food and keep her going. Because we saw in this last episode, they finally said, yeah, all right, if y'all aren't going to do that, individually, we'll let you have a jar of rice and do it that way instead. So at least she's got a little bit of rice. Now, here's the kicker. What if Liz got back to camp and said, oh, I got my jar of rice. This will be fantastic. And then everyone said, well, no, we're going to share that rice. Well, you need to share it with us. We shared our other food with you. You think we'd have Meltdown Part 2? Yeah, maybe. I don't think they would dare do that after seeing the way she responded the first time around, but we shall see. Now, here's another question. If I'm sitting there and I'm hungry, I don't have any rice, and I see one person that's got their own personal jar of rice, does that give you a little bit more incentive maybe to vote that person out just so you can get their rice for the next few days? I don't know. I have no idea who goes home this coming up week. I'm just saying it doesn't take a lot to steer someone in a different direction when you're hungry and tired and getting to the end game and trying to just advance one day at a time, 1 week at a time. I don't want anything that points a target a little bit more at me, and having that jar of rice maybe should do it. Maybe Liz needs to get back and cook it all up and just have a feast for the next day or two and then be done with it. And just know that you're going to starve from that point on. But yeah, Ma, I agree with you. She signed up for the show. No one told her that they're going to have pizzas every day. So no one dies after 29 days of hunger. I don't think so. I don't know. As long as you get a little bit, you're probably okay. But yeah, I do feel for her, but you're right. It's what she signed up for. Jeff Merch is saying howdy. Jeff, how are you doing? I hope you're doing fantastic. I just saw your mom last weekend. So anyway, Bing Bong is saying, Cliff for the Traitors or Survivor. I would have fun doing either one of them, Bing Bong. And Chad's saying, Traitor or Faithful, what would you rather play and be better at? Chad, I think in terms of Traitors, and I may have mentioned it on here before, I would love to play a Traitor. And I think I'd be pretty dang good at it because it would allow me to, on the surface and in public, play one role as a Faithful, which everyone does, right? No one who's a Traitor portrays themselves as that. But I think the assumptions, when I went into the Big Brother house, I knew there were going to be a lot of assumptions made about who I was as a person based on my age, that I was from Texas, that I worked in the oil field, that I wore a cowboy hat. All of that stuff is going to make people think certain things about who I was as a person. And I hope to take advantage of that. I kind of feel the same way if I ever went into Traders, that because I kind of played an honest game in Big Brother and wasn't necessarily an evil person. I don't think it was. No more than I had to be anyway. Because of all that, people would tend to make the assumption that I was a faithful, and maybe they would trust me just a little bit more than someone whose first reality show they were a little bit more cutthroat, or a little more of a villain. And if I was a traitor, I could take advantage of that. Here's a little secret for all of y'all. Yeah, secret. I think my mom will confirm maybe a little bit too. One of the things I learned while I was in elementary school, all the way up through junior high and high school, if you're really, really nice and friendly and polite and doing everything perfectly the first couple of weeks of a new school year, you can get away with murder the whole rest of the year. Now, I was a decent, I wasn't a hellion even afterwards, but I did realize that that no one wants to admit that they were wrong on their first assumption. So you get in there for a while and you're perfect. The teachers think, oh, you're a model student. Then they give you a little bit more latitude than otherwise maybe you would get. And I certainly got a bit of that over the years. I learned that very, very early age. I feel the same way on Traders. If I came in, got everyone to trust me and felt comfortable with me, then I could start doing a few things here and there. So now, Jazz, I would definitely want to be a traitor over a faithful, just because it seems like it'd be more fun. Traders versus Survivor. In all honesty, I feel like I'd perhaps do a little better at Traders than I would Survivor. But Survivor, beating Jeff Probst and just the iconic island, I'd probably have more fun and feel more, I don't know, just starstruck being on Survivor than Traders. But I don't know. Hanging out in the castle in Scotland and getting to hang out and talk to what was his name, Alan Cummings, I think, the host of it. That'd be pretty cool too. So either way, I'm good. I ain't turning either one of them down. There's what shows would I turn down if they approached me? Uh, yeah, probably the dating show, just for the sake of having a place to lay my head every evening. Dating shows might be out of the picture. Anything else? Pretty good chance I'll be looking at it, considering it. Some more so than others. All right, what else do we have on here? My mom's out here. Hey, mom, how you doing? Talking about you a little while ago. All right, Mark. Let me see. Our Bing Bong saying, looking back at Big Brother 21, it was a great move not to blindside Christy with her power, even though many thought it was boneheaded not to. It really helped your game. That was so hard. I was so upset when she came in there and said that she had that power. I really felt like it was a little bit of a threat, the way it was phrased. And normally when someone threatens me, I'm very stubborn. Normally when someone threatens me, I'm kind of one of those that's like, I don't care then. Watch this. We'll both go down together. And I thought about it, but really, I was so scared of that alliance. And maybe I've had people accuse me of playing scared at that moment in time. Well, yeah, it's because I had to, because there was an alliance on the other side. Now, Nick and Bella were out, so maybe instead of 9 people, it was only 6 people. But they were 6 very strong people who I felt like as soon as the first shot was taken against them, it was only going to pull those 6 tighter together, because then they would feel threatened in a way they hadn't felt threatened before. And so, yeah, I wanted to so bad. I had this whole scenario set up where I was going to try to figure out how I could burn Christy, how I could get her out without necessarily having everyone else upset with me. And the idea was going to be that I was going to approach Holly and Nikki and say, look, Christy promised me that she wouldn't use the power in exchange for me not putting up her or Tommy. But obviously that means that I wasn't going to put up someone outside the group, which means that it was going to be either Sis or Holly. Christy and Sis are kind of tight. So basically Christy was saying, go ahead and put you up and send you out the door, Holly. And as long as it wasn't her or Tommy, then she'd be cool with it. And so I thought about trying to create some kind of story so I could get Holly and Mickey to approve me getting out Christy based on her trying to betray them, and I had all the stuff that I spent that next couple of days thinking about. But at the end of the day, I just seen Nicole get really burned by telling people what turns out to be the truth, but they didn't believe it. And I just felt like if I tried to do anything too fancy right then, people potentially were going to compare notes. I wasn't sure what the the relationships were inside that alliance, and I really thought if I played too hard right then, they were going to come after me over and over again by basically throwing up my hands and surrender and saying, "Oh, please, guys, just don't send me out the door." It was going to give them the chance to feel like I was a pushover, that they could hold on to me a little bit longer because there were bigger targets. And it worked. Now, I mean, it truly worked. I therefore got to hang around long enough for the alliance to blow up, and y'all know how it happened after that. But yeah, I did know it would have been fantastic TV if I'd gone ahead and booted Christy after I promised not that I wouldn't put her up. I could have. I can just picture in my head her saying, "But you promised me," and me saying, "Oh, I get the old age. I don't remember that, Christy. I was get a little senile or something because I don't remember saying it." I pictured it as like Winston and Rockstar, something one of those kind of moments. But yeah, for my game, it wouldn't have worked out. I would have gone home probably the very next week when Holly then won HOH, because I think I would have then become a bigger target than Nick. So just my thought. We'll never know, but I feel okay with that. I truly do. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Let's see. Lisa D saying, getting caught up on the circle finally. I'm loving the circle. I need to get caught up as well. And Cindy Hire saying, what are your thoughts about the circle after the last episode? I'm probably behind Cindy, so I can't tell you that. I'm still on like episode 4. I watched it. I don't think I'm giving away spoilers because I'm not as caught up as y'all are, but I watched it once the artificial intelligence came into play and did that. And Ed said it picked up after Max. It's I forgot what I said. Oh, about the circle. Yeah, I really kind of like having the artificial intelligence because it really, I think, feel like it screws with everyone's heads. Yeah, y'all know better than I do whether it worked or not, but yeah, I need to get caught back up on it. I made a mistake. I may have mentioned this last week. Just going through looking for shows to watch while we were waiting for some college baseball games to start, and we watched Love Is Blind, the dumbest, cheesiest show, but we're now on our second season of it. And it's actually kind of cool. So the season we're watching now, everyone's from Houston. So I keep watching to see if I know so much. It's such a cheesy show. But because of that, I haven't caught up on the circle. I'll put it on the list. All right, Ma saying, have you seen Napoleon Dynamite? Vote for Pedro. Of course. Of course I have. Yeah. Ma, yes, I have watched it. I liked it. I wasn't one of the ones who watched it over and over. It seems like some people were really obsessed with Napoleon Dynamite for a while. I can't say I was to that level. I feel like I picked up some dance moves from Napoleon Dynamite that I used inside the house and all that. Such a unique show, right? It's different, but iconic show. Yeah, how long ago was that show when Napoleon Dynamite came out? And they still talk about it. They still quote it. Yeah, I've seen it a few times. If it's on TV, depending on what part of the movie's in, I'll stop and I'll watch it for a little while. Talking about movies and nostalgia and all that, the other thing that's kept me from watching The Circle, I'm reading a book, guys. It's called Ready Player 2. I think it's by Ernest Cline, maybe. I could be wrong in the author. It seems like maybe so. Ready Player One was the original book, and it's all about people that are in a futuristic version of the internet, cyber world, and he ends up trying to solve this puzzle and trying to win the company. And it was a fun book and movie. It did come out as a movie as well. It was fun because it referenced so many old things from the 80s, my era, growing up, the original video games and arcades and all that. Well, they came out with a sequel, Ready Player 2, and I've been reading that. Not as good as the first one, but it's a lot of fun. I got to a part where they go in the internet to the John Hughes world, and his whole world is nothing but John Hughes movies. Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles. Everywhere they go in this virtual world, there's different versions of Molly Ringwald walking around and Anthony Michael Hall, and all the soundtracks are playing from all those movies and everything else. It made me a little bit nostalgic for all the John Hughes films. So at some point before Big Brother starts, I think I'm going to go out there and just do a John Hughes marathon of all the movies that are out there. Figure out which ones I like the most, the least. My favorite maybe is Breakfast Club, just because they had so many different characters. Everyone can find a character to relate to within the Breakfast Club. After that, maybe 16 Candles. I like all of the John Hughes stuff because he's talking about my time when I was in high school, when I was growing up. So yeah, if you're looking for something to read, Ready Player Two or One, pretty cool little books. Again, they reference a lot of old songs and music and video games and all that stuff. I remember first video game I ever played, Space Invaders, and we thought that was the most amazing thing. I think even maybe we played Pong and things like that, but that was before I was old enough to have my own quarters. And we would ride. There was a driving range, a golf shooting range, driving range, half a mile from our house, and we would ride our bicycles up to this driving range, shoot a bucket of golf balls. But really, we were up there primarily to get the quarters and take turns playing Space Invaders. Played a lot of Space Invaders growing up. We had your own. Sharon's like, my own quarters. Yeah, well, how old was I when Space Invaders? Yeah, 14 or so. I had an allowance. We'd go up and spend a little bit on the balls, but we'd ask for all our change in quarters. And yeah, and of course, I don't even think you played video games. Do they have arcade games that you go to arcade? I guess Dave and Buster's and a few places like that. Probably cost more than a quarter, but back then it was a quarter for us to play the games. We played Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, Defender, Fireball, pinball machines. I was Tempest was a game I love playing. I was pretty good at asteroids. So yeah, we'll talk about it. I talk video games forever. Back in the day, of course, now the stuff you play on the PlayStations and stuff just blow those games away. But for us, pretty cool. Yeah, my first video game ever was a system that we actually taped up the screen on the TV. If you want to play tennis, you tape up a piece of plastic that was a green color, so you were playing tennis because it was green. If you wanted to play some other game, it'd be a brown screen, so you could play a shootout or something. That was the level of our first video game. It's called the Odyssey 2000 or something. Anyway, we'll move on. All right, let's see. Pong. Ed Brewer saying Centipede. Yeah, Centipede and Galaga were two that I'd forgotten all about. That's such a great title. I spent so much time in those videos, and some of the sports games as well. That we would just play, hang out together, all the guys. Nowadays, you just all get on your computers at home, and you've got your headphones, and you don't need to be at putt-putt or whatever. But back then, a little bit different world. All right, Ma saying, watched Napoleon Dynamite, watched it, and did a Q&A with Pedro. Well, no, that's pretty cool. All right, Ma, I want more information on that. I know you got a birthday coming up in June, and we're gonna get you on here. Keep that in mind because I want to ask you some stories about your Q&A. That's your brush with reality or with fame. That's pretty cool. I gotta say, I'm very impressed, Ma. Hanging out with the big wigs, right? That's pretty neat. I like your dad. Let's go. I'm gonna ask you some questions about that when we come up to that point. All right, Lisa D is saying, me and Ed and Colleen watched Love Is Blind 2. Guilty pleasure for a lot of us. Well, good. I don't have to feel as guilty about it. I don't know about this show. Are these people, are they wanting to get married and do all this just so they can be on TV? Or do they truly think this is a way to find a relationship and get married? Maybe it's both. I'm not going to say that it's not valid. I don't think it's fake. I think they're sincere about it. I just always wonder, how can you truly get to know someone in such a short period of time, in such a weird set of circumstances to start with? But maybe, when I tried out for Big Brother, we're all sitting around talking, and there was a conversation that a couple of the people in my little group were having about if you could choose a reality show where you found your true love or a reality show where you could win $1 million, which would you do? And I told them, I said, I'd do the dating show where you find your true love. And they were shocked, I guess, because I'm older and married and all that. They're like, why? Why would you do $1 million? I said, well, yeah, $1 million, yeah, it'll change your life. But if you find your soulmate, for what, however it works out, if you find your soulmate, isn't that the coolest thing that you could possibly? It's a gift that keeps on giving, right? I mean, that talk about changing your entire life. I'm lucky. I found my wife the regular old way and didn't have to just do the dating show. But if you knew you could find your soulmate by doing that, heck yeah, forget the $1 million. The love's a lot more important than the money part is. And maybe you can do both though. Given my condition, since I'd already found my soulmate, true love, I was a little more focused on the shows that gave you $1 million. But they talk about Big Brother has more couples that have stayed together than some of those dating shows. So maybe going through these shared experiences that you get to do on some of these shows, some of the stresses, maybe that does give you a bond that carries over through thick and thin. We'll see. I know Bailey and Swaggy doing fantastic. Jeff and Jordan, there's a lot of them out there. Rachel and Brendan, there was a lot that have come from Big Brother. I'm glad to see it. I truly am. And we got a few from my season as well. Nicole and Brian, Christy and Jamie. Yeah, it's pretty. I love seeing all these reality folks, my friends getting married and living life and all that. And then, yeah, I mentioned that Tommy's getting ready to get married. Mickey got married as well. I have not met his bride yet. Haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, it's cool watching my friends that I spent so much time with getting to do other things as they go through life. All right, so let's see what else. I mean, Nick's getting married as well. And he's got a couple of daughters. I mean, Nick certainly he's settled down. He's got daughters, a house, a fiance. Nick's doing pretty well. All right, Andy W saying, worked for a company that made Pong games. We were able to get one for my brother before they came out to the public. I bet you were the fancy ones in town, weren't you? He thought it was the greatest. I can only imagine. Yeah, that'd be like giving someone the first person in the city that has cable TV or time travel or laser beams. It's cool. I remember the first time we had a TV that had remote control. The old remote control was my dad saying, Cliff, go change the channel. That was our original remote control. Then we finally had one that was a little thing that you squeezed, and it made a whistle sound. And whatever frequency this whistle was, the TV knew to hear that to turn it off or on. That was it. Remote control was just on and off. That was it. I remember when we've had our first remote control. I remember when we had cable TV for the first time. Oh, I love me some MTV. I was feeling pretty good about that. The one I remember more than anything else, so I remember our very first microwave oven. We went down and bought it. It must have weighed 500 pounds. It was huge. We got it home, and all my brother and I wanted to do was fix nachos in it. The idea that we could just put chips and some cheese in there, hit the button, and 30 seconds later, you had nachos. The greatest thing in the world. It was something like Star Trek. And so we did that. I loved it. My mom probably appreciated a lot more than we did. But yeah, I remember our first microwave. Made a huge difference in college. Man, between a little microwave in my dorm room, I learned how to fix grilled cheeses with an iron turned upside down. You set your cheese and bread and everything on top. Put a little aluminum foil. You can iron the bread, fix you some grilled cheeses. We had a lot of life hacks in a dorm room where you couldn't have crock pots and things like that. But I always remember that first microwave. All right, what else do we have on here? So we talked about Big Brother. We talked about the meltdowns and all of that. That was a good one. We've talked about Deal or No Deal. I hated to see that person going. Mentioned Love is Blind. Mentioned Ready Player 2. Been watching Shogun. For those of you who like Game of Thrones, give it a few episodes. It takes a while to get going. But if you go out and watch Shogun, I think it's on Hulu. It reminds me a little bit of Game of Thrones, but taking place back in feudal Japan. It's the same kind of intrigue, different groups that are fighting against each other and all that. So I've enjoyed Shogun too. Way too much TV and way too much work and everything else to watch everything I want to watch. But sometimes real life interferes. All right, what else do we have on here? Jeff Mertz is saying a door to door. Hold on, Jeff. A door to door salesman came through the neighborhood and sold us cable TV. All I remember is me as like a 16-year-old posing as a college student so that I could get them to come in and fix the cable to set us up for cable TV, because you had to be 18 to sign all the legal forms committing to 20 years of cable TV, whatever. And so I actually feel like maybe skipping school is probably not the word I want to use. I took a personal day, an unplanned personal day, so that I could make sure I was home when the door-to-door cable salesman came by and said, "Yeah, bro, I'm just here getting ready for finals. They're over at UTA, so yeah, we want to have some cable TV." Hey, I'm sure he knew, and I'm sure he didn't care. He was a door-to-door salesman working off commissions. I have no doubt. So, yeah, I signed my name, committed my parents to a long-term contract for cable TV. Didn't care, because by 5 o'clock that afternoon, I was watching MTV and feeling like I was on top of the world. Different, different times like that. Fortunately, I think my parents enjoy TV and programs enough that they were okay with me kind of signing everything away. They were fine watching, instead of 5 channels of TV to watch. Now we had 20 or 30 back then. Well, what did we do before that? Yeah, I know what we did. We went out and played Cowboys and Indians in the front yard and ran around, played soccer in the streets, and actually got outdoors sometime. Now, not so much. All right, Jeff is saying the sales guy lied and said MTV had country music. All right, well, I think we turned out okay. We got a lot of channels with country music now, which no problem. I have no problem with it. Let me some country music. My mom's saying you like making hot dogs in that giant microwave too. And some things never change. Fan of the hot dogs. I had a lot of hot dogs while I was in the Big Brother house as well. That's my survival food. When I travel overseas, not so much. It's a little hard to find. A little hard to find good, especially go to the Middle East. Not even eat pork hot dogs over in the Middle East, because, yeah, I just don't do it over there. I remember I was over in Malaysia and wanted breakfast. And they said, "Well, what do you want?" And the menu said, like, sausage and eggs. Yeah, sausage and eggs sounds fantastic. The eggs were, I think they cooked them a couple of weeks before and kept them in the freezer or something, because they were just these hard little things of eggs. The sausages they gave me were just like the Oscar Mayer hot dog weenies that were cut up into little. They look like the ones you get inside SpaghettiOs or something. A bunch of little pieces of weenies, and that was my breakfast for 2 or 3 days in a row while I was in that hotel. That was not in Malaysia. That was in Brunei, which is a little country on the island of Borneo. Not my favorite place to ever visit. And we were cursed. We stayed in a hotel that was cool. It was right up against the ocean, which I thought was neat. I found out later that all the Chinese people population that lived on an island was incredibly upset with this hotel, because the hotel had been built on a beach, and there was already a cemetery, a Chinese cemetery for all the Chinese population was all buried in the cemetery. And I guess some kind of feng shui kind of deal that this hotel was built and it blocked the cemetery's view of the ocean and blocked the view back to China. And so now, the whole time I was there, we had all these protesters yelling every time I'd go into the hotel. I didn't know what. Later, I found out about this hotel had been built on right across from the cemetery. I went out to hang out at the beach one time, discovered that Alaska and Texas, as I mentioned last week, have big mosquitoes. Brunei and Borneo have big sized mosquitoes, and they got a whole bunch of them. Yeah, I quickly came back in. It looked like I had chicken pox just after 5 minutes. So, not my favorite trip to overseas was my visit to Brunei, but not everyone can say they went to Brunei either. So at least I got that. All right, Colleen said I want my MTV, but video killed the radio star. See, now I've got both those songs stuck in my head. I probably will for the rest of the evening. Martha Quinn. I remember all of the VJs back then. We thought that was amazing. All right, YTC JC Star 1015 say, did you play Wii Sports? Yeah, I played some of Wii Sports. We did Dance Dance Revolution, played a lot of Guitar Hero, played a lot of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. Played, I know on the Wii, was it the Wii? We played a lot of Monkey Balls, which was little monkeys that are going down ramps and playing tennis. A lot of different sports. I did some Wii Sports. I did the tennis a little bit and all that. Just a little bit later than my heyday. Mine was a little bit more some of the early Maddens, and even before that, a lot of baseball video games and things like that. EA Sports, it's in the game. Man, love it. I loved all those sports. I played a lot of World Cup soccer, but then eventually I realized that my son was beating me every time we played. He eventually, the Padawan surpasses its master. The apprentice passes the master because my son, when we first started playing Zelda, I had to help him with all the hard spots. Within a couple of years, he killed me, beat me like a drum on every soccer and football game and all of that. Reflexes of some people that grew up playing video games, a lot different than mine. But now rolling balls down circular ramps and things like that, like we did in Big Brother Battle, I can hold my own on those. I'm just going to go through and get a whole list of my old video games in one of these shows, and we'll talk about that because I have a feeling y'all have all got your favorites, so we'll talk about that. All right, 754. I got one big topic I'm going to talk about in a second, so let me do this real quick. Ma saying House of Dragons comes out next week. Would pick The Wire or Sopranos on HBO. The Wire. I love me some Wire. Sopranos, I never watched the entire thing. I feel bad saying it. I watched a couple of seasons, but I never finished it off. Maybe I need to go back and revisit. The Wire, top notch. Oh, my favorite series of all time. First couple of seasons, fantastic. There's a few seasons I still have to see on that, but yeah, I love me some Wire. Classic. You know what else I liked from that same time period? There was Oz, which was on HBO, and it was about people trying to survive in a jail. I mean, not the most happy scenario, but there's a lot of drama and a lot of plots and all of that. And I love Sons of Anarchy, so I like a lot of those kind of shows. All right, let's see. What else do we have? So quick. Kenny Franklin saying anything on Big Brother? No, not too much other than just that auditions finished this week. I'm still hearing mid to late June probably as a premiere. Nothing on themes, nothing on Julie's channel will be back. I've heard differently, so I'm sure she'll be back. But yeah, we're still a little bit early for that. Once Big Brother Canada wraps up, then suddenly you're going to start hearing a lot more stuff about Big Brother USA. So yeah, we're getting close. So binge on the shows while you can because you don't have that much longer to do that. All right, 7:56. All right, guys, we'll one more thing. I want to ask you a question. We talked about last week my little Ninja Creamy that Sharon and I make a lot of different ice cream, right? I haven't had a chance because I've been busy with work and flooding and all that kind of stuff. But my next ice cream flavor, I mentioned one of the flavors last week, mac and cheese ice cream. Or my other option to try it is for go round number one, I thought about pickle ice cream. Mix a bunch of pickles and pickle juice in with the ice cream and make some pickle flavored ice cream or some mac and cheese ice cream. Yeah, I know y'all are already doing one of these things. Yeah, I'm going to try it. And I'm going to try it, and I'll try it. We may do an extra episode of Cliff Notes Live where I can try it in person and keep a bucket off to the side just in case. But I figure I'd try that. But I want y'all's input. Which of those two should I go for first? Y'all think the pickle ice cream? That pregnant woman would love that, right? Not so sure about Bob Hogg, but maybe I'll sell that just for pregnant folks here and there. Pickle ice cream or mac and cheese ice cream? Well, what should be my first attempt? And then I'll do the other one a little bit later. So, but y'all let me know. Send me a DM if you want, or you can post it out here before we shut down. Ma saying not the pickles. All right, so I guess that's one vote for the mac and cheese. Colleen saying pickle ice cream. So and Ed's saying blah. I assume that neither one of those really you feel like it's a palate pleaser, huh, Ed? I hear you. I understand. I'm all about the risk in the world. All my ice cream flavors are a little bit on the edge. Sharon's good with the standard old standbys. I like to push. I'm the Kenny Loggins. I'm the Maverick of Ninja ice cream. I want to try the stuff that no one else has tried. I want to push the envelope a little bit. I want to do the 180 and stare at my enemy, stare them in the face, and say, "Pickle ice cream, today you will not beat me. I will, I will be victorious." I might be pumping myself a little bit more. I tried it with chili ice cream, marginal results, but I tried it. So yeah, y'all let me know. Amanda Lowe saying peanut butter. I actually love peanut butter too much for that to be a horrible challenge. I've made some peanut butter and chocolate ice cream, which was pretty good. Chad is saying mac and cheese over pickle for sure. Ma saying she stands by Sharon. Yeah, there's a lot of y'all that do that, and that's fine. Every couple has to have the one who's out there doing dumb risk, and the other one who pulls them back and keeps them in line. That's what Sharon and I are. Mac and cheese if I have to, according to Karen. Ed Brewer saying fried rice ice cream. All right, yeah, we could get some Chinese elements in there. That could be kind of interesting. Some Thai. Oh, put some curry in an ice cream. That could be. We may have to think about this a little bit more. But all right, pickles with lemon juice. Colleen saying, yeah, all right, now you're pushing it a little too far. That's was it Icarus that flew too close to the sun. I feel like pickle ice cream right up near the top. Once you throw that lemon juice in, that's when the wings melt and you crash and burn. I think we have to call a stop somewhere. But Cindy saying mac and cheese, and Ma saying she's going to throw up. I may too, but hopefully it's before. It's after I try the ice cream. If it happens before, that's not a good sign whatsoever. So, all right, well, we'll find out. Maybe I'll go with the mac and cheese unless I get a ground swelling of support for those of you who watch it on replay and all that. We'll find out. I just thought it'd be fun, so I think I may film it, turn it into some kind of Instagram reel, and then I'll try it live on YouTube Live, and I'll let y'all know. Which means that you really ought to turn on it. So sign up for the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, because if you do, you may get to watch me do something really stupid like mac and cheese ice cream. Hey, maybe the next Ben and Jerry's for the mac and cheese world. You never know. All right. With that being said, I think we're about time to wrap it up. Marilyn saying, I did hear maybe next year during the Olympics we might get Celebrity Big Brother. I could see that. I don't know if CBS ever really knows exactly how they want to handle Big Brother versus the Olympics. They know they'll get a lot of viewers for it. We'll find out. Olympics this year in France, right? Oui, monsieur. So I don't know. We'll find out. I'll be watching Big Brother. I may have another screen set up to watch a few Olympic games and all that. I love watching the Olympics, but Big Brother is going to be on my show, so we will find out. All right, guys. With that being said, I'll shut it down. As I mentioned just a second ago, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. Turn on notifications. One of those thumbs up is always appreciated as well. Don't know what it does, but it makes me feel cool. So thank you for that. Y'all have a fantastic week. Again, it's been horrible weather here in Houston. Wherever you are, please stay dry, stay warm. I hope everything's going well for all of you guys. Send me some DMs. Let me know what's going on in y'all's lives. Any topics for next week, let me know, and we'll get those lined up and ready to go. We'll see. All right. My mom, we'll just finish it up with my mom, Sue Hogg, making a suggestion, which actually could be maybe the comment of the evening. My mom is saying, how about Bourbon Street Bacon Mushroom Swiss Burger Ice Cream? I'm down for it. Who can say no to mushroom ice cream? Forget all the rest of the ingredients. Mushroom ice cream, you had me at mush, right? Yeah, all right, Mom. I may fix some just for you, and we'll bring you on so you can try a little bit as well. Because I know how adventurous you are with your eating. Yeah, right. That'll be the day. Yeah, I'm gonna hold her to it. We're gonna get my mom on to try different ice cream flavors. That actually could be a whole hell of a lot of fun. All right, guys. Y'all have a fantastic week. I will see y'all next Monday. Until then, SKD143. Love my wife, love my kids, love y'all out there as well. Thank you so much for another Monday night. I'll see y'all next week. Until then, cheers, my friends. Bye. Bourbon Street Burger Ice Cream. I'm going to be thinking about that one for a long time, Mom. Bye, guys. We'll see y'all.